This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast with original independent science fiction written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the Science Fiction Podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma, and I have Chapter 13 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on the way on this episode. Lots of 13s floating around. I'm actually recording this on Friday the 13th. Lucky me. And it's our 13th chapter of this book. The novel, Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest, which is part of The Adventures of Alibi Jones, Chronological Omnibus. Alibi Jones and his Covert-Ops team are now trying to leave the planet Argentium after helping the Solar Alliance Interplanetary Force retrieve kidnapped Krish and a stolen Devrizium power core. Alibi and company may have even preserved their cover as shady traders running routes on the fringe of the Solar Alliance. But as they were getting ready to leave, a woman that Alibi had met earlier, Laurel Eden, another captain and pilot with her own crew and cargoes, stopped him to ask what Alibi knew about what had just gone down. When Alibi played dumb, she warned him. Don't bullshit me, kid. We're going to pick things up right there, in lucky Chapter 13 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest, coming up on Glow in the Dark Radio. In book news, I'm still dealing with distribution problems on the 6 short stories paperback. It may be time to explore some other options. Lulu has just been unhelpful. Very disappointing. If you have a copy of the book, great. Hold on to it. Who knows, it might be a collectible someday. So I don't have an update on that yet. By the way, though, patrons have access to a special patrons-only version of the 6 short stories paperback. And that has not changed. There's also another book, another short book, the Future History Collection, The Archmage's History of the Future, which is available only to patrons. Although the problem with future histories, they just get outdated really fast. I remember when I was a kid, which means late 70s, and I was reading Robert A. Heinlein. And in some of the older paperbacks, they had his History of the Future, which we had already gone through like half of and nothing had happened. And I remember thinking, oh man, he should have spaced it out further. Little did I know that would come back and haunt me. I wrote my History of the Future with what I thought was a less than optimistic outlook. I thought. But we have badly let my past self down on the future. I originally came up with this timeline, it was over 30 years ago. It was in the mid-90s. Early 90s, maybe. Now, I revised it for the book that patrons can get, just like 6 years ago in 2020. So the Archmage's History of the Future is more up to date. But even in 6 years, it's already outdated because we turned out to kind of suck. Even worse than I thought we would. Not all of us, of course. But yeah, it's already a little outdated. So it goes. But yeah, exclusive books for patrons. Just some of the ways I say thank you. The handful of patrons I have who are active help me keep this podcast going. So I want to give you stuff when I can. This episode is a little bit late for patrons, but a little bit earlier for them still than the general public. They're still getting it. Patrons get this still a little bit early. So yes, thank you, patrons. Thank you if you're a patron. You know who you are. And if you want to learn more about becoming a patron, just head to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. And you can do it for $2, $5, or $10 a month. Again, for details, go to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. Well, we'll get into Lucky Chapter 13 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest next on Glow in the Dark Radio.
Hi, I'm JC. My co-host Cindy and I host the Fix It Home Improvement Podcast. We cover projects that every homeowner should know and top-rated products for home and garden. And for fans of Mike, we keep you posted on new smart home systems and products like robot vacuums and robot lawnmowers that seemed like science fiction not too long ago. You can check it out on your favorite podcast app. It's Fix It, F-I-X-I-T, Home Improvement.
Now here's Chapter 13 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on Glow in the Dark Radio. Don't know what you know, Laurel Eden said, looking Alibi in the eye. But I know you know something. Keeping quiet about it, that's fine. But don't be cute. Gotcha, Alibi said. Her deadly grin mellowed into a hint of a smirk. Remember what I told you about Gentry, too, she said. Let him know you want to play nice. She looked around the busy Argentium spaceport. Gotta go. You should, too, she said. Thanks, he said. You're welcome. See you sometime, she said. She turned and walked off toward her ship. Do like watching her walk. Alibi walked back to his crew. That's Laurel Eden, Alibi said. Another pilot. Suggested we leave. So that's what she was suggesting, huh? Emily said, cracking a smile. Good suggestion. Let's get moving. She started off toward their ship. Kat, Brisby, and Alibi had to jog to catch up. They boarded the cruiser and Alibi made a beeline for the bridge, with Kat close behind. Alibi powered up the ship's systems soon as he could reach the controls. He was still standing up in front of the pilot's seat as Kat settled into the co-pilot's chair. Alibi sat down when he noticed. Emily and Brisby filed into the second row of seats and strapped themselves in for takeoff. Kat called into the embassy for launch clearance as Alibi ran checklists and prepped the engines for takeoff. "Arr!" Kat growled after he finished the call. Alibi jumped a little, surprised. Kit was never so demonstrative. "We are clear to launch in half an hour," Kat said. "Apparently there is quite a backup." "Hurry up and wait, huh?" Brisby said. "Not really," Emily said. She frowned. "We hurried, and now we have to wait," Brisby said, confused. "Not the same," she said. "As the expression, I mean." "Hey," Alibi said, interrupting. "Great mission, everybody." "Don't," Emily said. "What?" Alibi asked, confused by her sudden outburst. "We're not off this planet and back at the nest yet," she said. "Don't jinx us. Never start congratulating before you're done." "I see your point," Alibi conceded. "Sorry." "No need to keep acting the part of moron for our benefit," she cracked. "Hey!" Alibi protested. She smiled. "You were very convincing," she said, in character. "Such insubordination," Kat said. "I am surprised you put up with it." Not much choice, Alibi said. We're undercover. Rank is optional, really. Doesn't bother me. Really, Kat, Emily said. Didn't know you stood on formalities. I was joking around. Humor? Comedy? Com-eddy? Kat asked, as if sounding out the word. It must not have translated. She thinks she's funny, Brisby said. No one said anything else for a moment. An awkward silence passed between them. A soft ping from the console in front of Kat broke it. Alibi looked over at the Catman in anticipation as Kat checked the pinging comm. We are cleared for takeoff, Kat said. The other three sighed relief in unison. Brisby chuckled. Now that was comedy, Brisby said. Alibi ignored him. He turned to look back at Emily. There are times to pull rank, however. Emily, once we're airborne, activate the heads-up display for the rear guns for you and Brisby. Just the displays, not the guns, Alibi said, changing his tone. He wanted to sound like the ship's captain. We'll have them powered up and ready, but hidden unless we know we need them. Let's make that standard liftoff protocol, unless I say otherwise. Yes, sir, Emily said, responding instinctively as a safe trooper to Alibi's shift in manner. She began to get the guns ready to fire in case they were needed. Don't want to use them unless absolutely necessary. Keep them a surprise as long as we can. Alibi and Kat piloted the cruiser up off the surface of Argentium. They were able to break orbit easily enough, but then found themselves in a taxi line of about 10 ships waiting to use the system's commercial transpace point. Alibi was fully capable of calculating his own transpace points he'd learned back at the academy, but his skills were rusty. He hadn't plotted one in ages. It also took hours and completely tied up the ship's computer. Better to simply wait their turn. For the transpace drive to somehow ignore the space between 2 points to find its way between them required 4-dimensional high-order math. Thus the commercial jump points programmed into every ship rolling out of Solar Alliance shipyards, and the updates at every port, and the line of ships in front of their cruiser waiting to use Argentium's pre-programmed transpace point. After 2 repetitive hours of watching ship after ship maneuver into position, double-check their drives and engines, and disappear in a space-twisting flash of transpace drive energies, their turn came. Alibi and Kat pulled the cruiser up to the transpace point and activated their drive. They traveled through the nothingness of transpace, the crew silenced by the experience. Does it seem like transpace jumps are taking longer? Alibi asked Kat, breaking the quietude. Heard a rumor they were, Kat said. But that was from humans. I discounted it, given our 2 races have different takes on what constitutes a long time. Alibi let out a half-laugh. Guess that's fair. You hear a lot of rumors out here, Brisby said. Crazy what I've heard riding commercial transports out through the depot fringe. People like to tell stories. I've heard that transpace is limited, only so much to go around. And now that we're... Brisby stopped. He looked over at Kat. Sorry, Kat, this isn't me, or every human, just some ignorant ones. Go on, Kat said. What do your ignorant ones have to do with me? Not you personally, Brisby said. Dakur in general, aliens in general, really. Oh, Kat said. They say that since we humans have been sharing transpace with so many alien races, it's getting overused, stretched out, so it takes longer to work. That's why everyone is having longer jump times. I'm pretty sure that one doesn't pass the science sniff test, Alibi said. I don't know, Emily said. Kind of feels like this jump is taking forever. She turned to her heads-up display, then back to Alibi. Hey, do you want the guns powered up as we come out of transpace? We're still hot since liftoff. We're coming out near the Hornet's nest, Alibi said. We shouldn't need the guns, but we also won't offend anyone if we're powered up as we come home. Keep them hot but hidden. Will do, she said. She turned back to the heads-up display to check the energy levels. Brisby looked at his display, too. Wish I knew more about tech stuff, he said. You do know how to fire them, right? Emily asked over her shoulder. some sarcasm and bite to her tone. "Emily," Alibi said, using her name as a reprimand. "Sorry, Brisby," she said. "You do though, right, Brisby?" Alibi asked. He only grinned a little as he did. "Hey!" Emily protested. "Yes," Brisby replied, "I do. Geesh." "Just checking," Alibi said. "Chill out and we'll be there soon. Unless we use up all of Transpace." "Yikes, huh?" No one laughed. It grew quiet on the bridge again. The view screens all glowed a neutral gray, the color Transpace registered to the human eye. The comm was silent. No one had yet perfected Transpace communications. "I don't know if it's really taking longer, but this jump does seem long as all hell. Gotta make some conversation." "Hey, Brisby," Alibi said. "What other stories have you heard about the Depot Fringe? Anything good?" "There's a whole bunch of Billy Gentry stories," Brisby said. "Hard to tell if they're made up or not." "Why?" Alibi asked. "They're all about different ways he's had people killed," Brisby said. "Some sound made up, like they're embellished to make him sound menacing." "Oh," Alibi said. "Yeah," Brisby said. "They usually start, 'This one time?' Like, this one time, Gentry had a small hole cut out of a guy's EVA suit's crotch, capped it with a temporary patch on a tether, and pushed him out the airlock. So when the tether was yanked, his insides came squirting out of his ass like emergency sealant from a fix tube." "Whoa, we get the point," Alibi cut him off. "Don't think I'm in the mood for Billy Gentry stories right now." "Sorry," Brisby said. He sounded a little hurt. Damn, can't leave him discouraged. "Any other cool rumors?" Alibi asked him. "Good stories?" "Good stories? How about a ghost story?" Brisby asked. "Heard there's some old haunted ship out there. Giant, black, appears and disappears. And if you get too close, an old astronaut ghost shows up and chases you away." "There's no such thing as ghosts," Alibi said. "But cool story, Brisby." Here we go." Alibi and Kat brought the cruiser out of Transpace and switched from the Transpace drives to the conventional engines to bring them back to their home base. As the ship touched down in its landing bay inside the Hornet's nest, Alibi turned to Emily. "Now?" he asked. "Sure," she said. "Mission accomplished," Alibi said. "Good job, everybody. Not great, but good. Good first effort." "Damned by faint praise," Emily said. She turned away to power down her workstation. "I include myself in that," Alibi said, trying to clarify. "I messed up too." "Even given my limited knowledge of humans, and the limitations of our translators, I do not think you sound inspirational, Alibi Jones," Kat observed. "Do you mean to be? How did we mess up? That you did also." Alibi sighed. "We were sloppy," Alibi said. "I was sloppy. Part of that was the act, but part of it was me just learning what to do, for real. We all have minimal covert training. I think Emily here got a whole week." "Yeah, a week," she said. "What did you just call me?" "I almost called you Katie," Alibi said. "Another woman I've worked with. Sorry. You're nothing like her. Just the stress. Just sorry, Emily." "Okay," she said. "Anyway," Alibi said as he tried to continue, "my aunt's best intentions for me aside, I think we're set up to fail. I'm set up to fail. And whoever's setting me up seems content with letting the rest of you go down with me." "Sounds a little paranoid, Alibi," Emily said. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," he said. "I've just learned to be suspicious of the powers that be in the Solar Alliance these days. Ever since the top secret report I made on Kismet became the top story on the news months later." No one answered or looked at him. Kat stared ahead at the helm display. Emily and Brisby found things to study intently on the deck. "In case you were wondering, that was an accident," Alibi said, louder than he meant to. Brisby jumped a hair. "We were just trying to escape," Alibi said. I never thought Kismet's engines would do what they did, blow everything up like that." He paused, took a breath. "Now you know. And the SAIF top brass knew, soon as it happened.
made a full report, was exonerated, given the circumstances, until someone decided to get me. Alibi shook his head. He cleared his throat to get their attention. The other three looked his way. So then, Alibi said, I don't think it's that far-fetched or paranoid to think maybe some one of them decided a Covert-Ops team where everyone was fresh and new to it was a way to help me fail at my new assignment. He laughed a little. We got thrown in the deep end. But you know what? We did it. Got Krish out and the power cell. We won. They lost. So did Yang, Emily cracked. She also smiled a little. And I don't think he saw past our cover stories. Guess we did win. It is a good start, then, Kat asked. Sure, Alibi said. A good start. They each stood up, getting ready to leave the bridge. I've seen worse, Alibi said. Shh, Emily said. Quit while you're ahead, huh?
That was Chapter 13 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest, part of the Adventures of Alibi Jones Chronological Omnibus on Glow-in-the-Dark Radio. Quit while you're ahead, huh? Alibi could use the help. Good advice. Can use the advice. He's still getting the hang of this whole leadership thing, obviously. But at least he and his team seem to have survived their first mission relatively unscathed. And in that chapter, with the stories and all, we got an idea of Billy Gentry's M.O., which is good to know, because Laurel Eden was warning Alibi Jones about Gentry. And what was that about a ghost ship? You remember that? Hector and his crews? The two ships? Ah, yes. Maybe those aren't just stories. Maybe we'll find out more on our next episode, with Chapter 14 of Alibi Jones and the Hornet's Nest on Glow-in-the-Dark Radio. And maybe we'll check in on Kit, back on her, too, while we're at it. Hope you'll be back. Again, in book news, dealing with some trouble with distribution with the 6 short stories paperback. But patrons can still get their exclusive patrons-only edition, and can also get the Archmage's History of the Future, the exclusive patrons-only paperback. Both of those are still available, and the links are available over at Patreon. That's where you go to find out more about becoming a patron. Love to have you. It's $2, $5, or $10 a month. And you sign up and you can learn more at Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. And that is all for this episode. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma. Thank you again for listening to Glow in the Dark Radio. Glow in the Dark Radio. This podcast presentation is copyright 2026 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NCND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.